Chuck. Tingle. Chuck. Tingle. Chuck. Tingle. Chuck. Tingle.
Hello, I'm Fiona Bruce and welcome to
the Chuck Tingle Book Club.
Oh, yeah.
So, welcome everyone to the Chuck Tingle Book Club. What is this, the fifth one?
I think it might be, yeah.
4, 5, sixth one.
Is it sixth?
Jesus we've
Christ.
read, but how doesn't the gay erotica fly when you're having fun?
Oh, baby, does it?
And speaking of flying, or what is flying on tarmac, which is driving, this week we read Vampire Night Bus Pounds My Butt.
That was such a good transition. Nice one, Tom.
Always point out the good segue. That's what I say.
Yeah, for sure.
So, in this book, our protagonist even, is Rick, a happy little LA commuter. He's used to driving to work every day, tapping his thumbs on his dashboard, listening to music while he commutes in, wasting his life. But he has an accident, car gets written off, and whilst waiting for insurance payout, he's forced to take the municipal bus. So, strange dude on one of these buses one morning warns him that bus 13 is named Vlad. Some vehicles are sentient in the Tingleverse, and they've worked hard for their rights, but he just figures this vampire warning is like some form of racism against sentient vehicles. Just like, not even racist, maybe just ignorant.
Insensitive is the word he uses again and again.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, every time that I run across a sentient talking bus, I do think, fuck me, is it a vampire?
Especially if it's got an Eastern European accent.
One night he's held up at the office, our Rick is, and he's forced, basically, gets to the stop. He's worried he has to get a cab. Doesn't need to get a cab, but bus 13 pulls up. And has a stereotypical Eastern European accent.
The bus. It's a sentient vehicle, baby. The bus is both the thing and the thing driving itself.
I mean, that could be where the racist thing comes in. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the bus is dark and brooding and somewhat handsome, as most buses are.
I think this one in particular is
Rick definitely. But Rick is kind of beating around the bush, questioning him, like, do you only work nights? Are you... Well, basically every question apart from, are you a fucking vampire? But he's constantly
like, the thing that particularly wrong fits me about this bus is that when it turns up, he's already checked his phone, and there are no buses running at this point. So when this thing turns up off timetable with the number 13, the warnings from the night before kind of revisit him a little.
But he is somewhat drawn to this bus and actually getting a semi while just talking to the bus, and kind of enticed into going back to the bus's home, which is a Gothic castle.
Just outside of LA.
Just outside of LA, yeah. You know, the huge. The bus invites him inside. They sit around the fire and basically, straight up, Rick just asks him, are you a vampire? Do you drink blood? The bus replies, no, he drinks cum. And so then all the sexy bus action starts. Of course, the big dick of the bus is inside on the back seat. Huge, of course.
Mm-hmm.
As you'd expect a bus to be endowed, it is endowed. He gets on his knees, which is a very
come now,
staple.
Tom. Let's not give too many details. You should always pay for your porn.
No. I'm going to give every detail like I did last week.
Oh, Tom.
But no, this is important because there are parallels to the other books. It starts with him getting on his knees, the same as the Unicorn Butt Cops. He gives the bus a blowy, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Again, a theme that always comes up. Gasping, but not gagging this time. But he does remark on his gag reflex.
Mm-hmm.
Metallic balls on the chin, spit bridge between the cock and his mouth, takes off pants, butthole, bust dick teasing, butthole stretching, mix of panic and pleasure, which is again, or pain and pleasure, sorry, which is again a recurring theme in the Tingle.
Mm-hmm.
Impaling, haha, Vlad the Impaler.
Oh, I missed that.
Yep, no, don't worry, mate. I've got the impaling down.
Well done.
A great line. Oh my dark lord of the night, the bus is shouting at the top of his lungs.
Oh my fucking dark lord.
Oh my fucking dark lord of the night. Another good quote. Jizz blasting hard into Rick in a series of pulsing ejections.
Mm-hmm.
Another good quote from the bus, Vlad. Now it's your turn. Feed me. And this is where the bus gives him a blowy. So feeding ensues, but then we reach the end of the sex scene, at which point Rick goes, I can't believe I was so worried you were going to turn me into a bat. And the bus, Vlad, says, of course I wouldn't turn you into a bat. And then the fucking guy becomes a bus. He fucking becomes a bus, wild honking off into the night.
So yeah, that's essentially the story of Vampire Night Bus Pounds My Butt. Beth, this is your first time on the book club. How does this book sound to you?
I wasn't listening.
Much like the endurers at home, so you're on a level playing field with them.
I heard about apparently something was covered in cum. I was watching a video of mine from 2012. If you want me to give a review of that.
Was there any wild honking or bus blowies?
No, it was.
Then
more
I
just
don't care.
It's not exactly relevant then, is it?
No, it's not relevant at all, which I think I gave you context for.
In this video, was there jizz blasting into you in a series of pulsing injections?
There wasn't. I was doing spring cleaning to mimic Limmy.
Okay. Oh, you're watching Limmy videos? Oh, yeah, fuck this section off. Limmy's awesome.
Yeah.
He's just come out with his new series, hasn't he? 2 days ago.
Really?
Yeah, he's Limmy's Homemade series or something it's called. It's on BCI Player. And BBC
oh, my God. Oh,
and
my days.
I think it's on Sky 453, if you want to look it up.
What?
Yeah.
Is that for the listeners?
Yeah, I've just remembered.
There's no way I can afford Sky, mate.
Right. Well, I would like to give an analysis of Vampire Night Bus Pounds My Butt.
Anal
assist, indeed. No, actually, do you know what? I had to work really hard and be very careful about how much I wrote for this one because it's horror. Naturally, I could have just gone fucking off on this one, but I've tried to rein it into like the relevant points and get to like the heart of the message that we're dealing with here.
Try to drive it home much like a bus would.
Mm-hmm. So here we go. Listen to him. Tingle of the night. What music he makes. That's right, folks. With Vampire Night Bus Pounds My Butt, Dark Lord Ting Ferratu has thrown his hat into the horror arena, and what an entrance he makes. Vehicular venereal combat aside, this is a tale of classic horror through and through. We have the complete horror arc of exposure, warning, wandering into the threat, being led astray, suffering the horror, and then a final twist for good measure. Firstly, we have our hero Rick, who comes from the sane and safe world of driving to and from work and listening to podcasts. He's a person just like you and me. So safe and normal, he could be someone you know. Hell, he could even be you. That is, he could be any single one of us, right up until an unexpected event forces him from this normality and into another circumstance altogether. In this case, the new circumstance is the LA Municipal Transport System. It's while he's using, so that's our exposure. Now, it's while he's using public buses that he receives a warning of danger from someone close to this world. In this case, It's a homeless bus rider who delivers the message. He pulls double duty as both a stand-in for the creepy gas station attendant archetype, and you can see like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hills Have Eyes for examples of this. He also covers the disheveled, dismissible expositionist role, such as Zadok Allen from H.P. Lovecraft's Shadow over Innsmouth. These reliable horror tropes allow the storyteller to let the reader know a little of what to expect, thus building tension, but they also allow space for the protagonist to safely dismiss, forget, or otherwise ignore the advice. And sure enough, that's exactly what happens. Come the next night, and boy will he, our hero has forgotten the warning from the doomsayer. Rather than driving on into the woods the creepy gas station attendant told him to avoid, or going on with the purchase of a house he's been told somebody has died in, our boy finds himself travelling home later than usual, and getting onto the very bus he was told to avoid. Bus 13, Vlad, the vampire night bus. This is a prime example of the hero wandering further into the threat. Next comes the moment of being led astray. This is often the last chance a character has to heed warnings or not do the obviously stupid thing to do. Evil Dead's Ash opening the Necronomicon is an excellent example of this. But in this case, our protagonist is actively and literally led astray by the ripped and spunky Vlad. The undead vehicular stud starts driving in another direction, taking our hero away from his destination. He does, however, offer to take his target home instead. Rick declines, allowing himself to be taken to Vlad's ominous gothic castle, just outside of LA. Oh boy, we're in it now. It's time to suffer the horror. This can manifest in a number of ways. Maybe Jason's mother starts stabbing the counsellors, maybe Dorian stabs his portrait, perhaps you rage scream yourself into an aneurysm when confronted by an insistent trisyllabic carrion bird. Whatever the nature of the horror, the point at which it is suffered is usually the point at which fates are sealed and flies start dropping. Again, somewhat literally in this case. I need not tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that our boy Rick, well, he fucks this bus. Finally, we have everyone's favourite part, the split and creaking crutch upon which M. Night Shyamalan leaned his whole tiresome career, the vaunted unholy twist. This is the moment in which all the disparate threads of apparently unconnected information are brought together and represented to the audience in a new, shocking light. Dr. Jekyll is Mr. Hyde? Mon Dieu, the dead guy in the middle of the torture room is both alive and the jigsaw killer? Dicasina sepalas car. Oh, I fucked that up. I can't read French quickly. In our case, after promising our naive fucktagonist that he wouldn't be turned into a bat, Vlad's cocular administrations instead turn him into a bus. Whichever way you cut it, this is classic horror fare. And if it's horror, that means there's something beneath the surface powering it. Horror is a body genre that uses shared societal experience to generate fear in its audience. Zombies represent the fear of the mindless masses in some form. The classic B-movie slashers like Friday the 13th and Halloween derive their power from a growing individualist fear of our neighbours and what they might be getting up to behind closed doors. But Bram Tingle has gone with the vampire option. Why? What does that represent? You could broadly separate contemporary vampires into two camps. The gothic, decadent aristocrats that feed upon the life of the innocents, such as Count Dracula and Countess Karnstein. These represent what has become the classic ideal of the vampire. In the other camp, we have the fuckboy sparkle bastards with a conflicted heart of gold. These make up the ranks of the new vampires. Such as
Can we just take a moment to appreciate the sparkle bastards?
Oh, thank you very much. I had so much fun writing that particular sentence. Fuckboy sparkle bastards is perhaps three of my favourite words to put together now. So these make up the ranks of the new vampires, such as you can find in the Twilight and Vampire Diaries series. Our Vlad, however, treads the line between the two, being more akin to the little column A, little column B vamps found in the works of Anne Rice. This is through necessity. Vampires generally represent a set of shared fears, but how those fears are represented and with what intensity varies between the schools. In the interest of keeping things here short, we'll focus on the three aspects this story focuses on. The powerful predatory outsider, exemplified by the classics, the dangerous love interest favoured by the new school, and the fear of indoctrination that runs through both. In the classics, there's an obvious tendency to have the vampiric parasite embodied by in an isolated and often foreign aristocrat. It's no mistake that two of the big hitters, Dracula and Karnstein, are based on Eastern European nobles, the Draculs of Wallachia and Lady Bathory of Hungary, respectively. The 1800s was a heyday of some of the most inventive racism the world has ever known. A backdrop of eugenics and the associated pseudosciences of phrenology and physiognomy meant that a lot of, air quotes here, white people were considered less than, again, air quotes, white. The Eastern Europeans, along with the Irish, Jewish, Romani and more, were all considered degenerates, making them figures of hatred, loathing and fear. But the Eastern Europeans in particular also had powerful aristocracies, making them perfect targets for monstrous dehumanization. It's this that Chuck is tapping into when he calls the Vampire Knight bus Vlad and gives him a thick Eastern European accent and a gothic castle. We also know that the race angle is important to the work because of the language of struggle and prejudice used regarding the sentient vehicles. Rick talks about the racially insensitive thinking that keeps these vehicles in lower social positions and chides the homeless doomsayer when being warned of Vlad's vampirism, pointing out that it's very insensitive to talk about living buses that way. However you cut it, race is key to this narrative. Next up, we've got the potentially dangerous love interest angle taken from the new school vampires. This is an obvious step for Chuck. This is a Tingle. It's a reasonable assumption that someone or something is going to get pounded in the butt. It's not enough that the bus is charming and well-spoken in the way the classic aristocratic types tend to be. Those vamps actually don't bone down. But this one is a 100% bang bus. So he has to be handsome in a dark and brooding kind of way with huge dark eyes and a muscular chest and abs. And Vlad... Can I just say, yeah, remember that sentence, everyone, for when we talk about the cover of this book. Sure.
What is the cover of the book like?
Oh, don't worry, we're going to score it.
Yeah, I need to go back and check that. So yeah, Vlad, like Edward Cullen or Buffy's Angel, doesn't drink blood because of the moral quandary of having to kill someone every time he's hungry.
What are you saying about Angel? Sucked a lot of dick.
No, I'm saying Angel didn't drink human bloods.
Yeah.
Neither did Edward Cullen. That's that.
I mean, to be fair, he's a hot... Anyway, go on.
Oh, David Boreanaz. Well. Instead of blood, our night-rolling bus drinks cum, bringing us nicely onto the final aspect, the fear of indoctrination, of becoming the other. Common to both schools is the fact that vampires can swap blood with a victim to turn them into a vampire. But not here. No, the reason it was so important for Vlad to be eminently fuckable is because in this tale, the vamp and victim need not share blood, but cum. The act of hot and horny coach copulation is what turns Rick, not into a vampire, but into a bus. As his hands turn into tyres and his body is elongating itself into the shape of a public transportation vehicle, he cries out, only to have his voice turn into a wild honk that echoes off the castle walls. So, what's the Chuck Keeper saying here? Take the warning from the hobo, the bus's extreme otherness, its ability to seduce and then indoctrinate, and the book's final moments of terror as Rick transforms, and what conclusions can be drawn? Get too close to the other and you become the other? That contact somehow makes you lesser? Is the Chief Buckaroo coming out as anti-integration, as, dare I say it, anti-race mixing? Fuck off, bruv. This is Chuck Tingle we're talking about, and this tale comes straight from the Tingleverse. His entire motto is that love is real. If a normal horror feeds off some cultural fear, then a horror that a man who does everything he can to promote love and openness will power his horror with those very ideals. Viewed through this prism, the vampire provides a number of useful shortcuts. We have a foreigner from a previously and occasionally still downtrodden culture. We have the extended exhaust pipe enjoyment as a shorthand for sharing love with those people. And we have the vampire's ability to indoctrinate as a way to represent coming to know and integrate with those people and vice versa. The fact that the vampire's come turns Rick not into a vampire but into a bus is key to this process. But what's at the final scene? Rick is obviously scared and no doubt pained by the process of becoming a bus. Where's the positivity in that? Simply put, empathy hurts. The process of getting to know a culture, of perhaps sharing a part of that culture, doesn't just include the good bits. It involves the entire social experience, pain and all. We know from his earlier thoughts and remarks on their treatment that Rick is already at least partially aware of some of the lived experience of the sentient vehicles. But this is more than that. As Rick incorporates more of that culture into his being, he begins to actually see and live that experience. He begins to know and understand the pain and fear they live with. Underneath all the horror trappings and busbuggery, this is a story that points out that simply acknowledging the struggles of another culture within our society is only a start, but not enough. It challenges us to actually integrate and empathize on a deeper level so that we may better understand their plight. And given Chucky the Vampire Slayer's general message, I would complete this by saying that it's only with that empathy that love can truly be real. Yeah, I'm echo.
Well, mate. I'm personally very glad that you brought up the sharing of come to transfer the curse, because I did something after reading this book. I watched Interview with a Vampire, imagining that Tom Cruise was a bus.
Oh my day.
Oh my God.
And my God, was that the most entertaining watch of that film I have ever had. usually that film leaves me a little bit dry because I know how it ends. But the idea of Tom Cruise being a bus driving across the fucking, San Francisco Bridge or wherever the fuck they are. Just like driving across the bridge, laughing his head off maniacally.
Mate.
Yeah. It was quite fun.
Oh, I haven't seen the film. Haven't seen it in a while. I'm going to have to watch it through this new prism.
Yeah, no, do it.
I was just wondering if, because like immediately I was thinking, I don't know, I ended up doing about more than that. I did an entire evening. I think I did about 8 to 10 hours of research for my analysis on this one. And I almost convinced myself that watching Bram Stoker's Dracula would be valid research for it. But I will now, next time I watch it, I think I'm going to have to watch it soon because I do actually really love that film. I'm going to have to imagine him and the brides are all buses.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It is so good. And the idea of this little tiny girl who gets transformed into a maybe, I don't know, minibus. Blimey, what the hell? 2 seconds.
Oh, she'd be turned into like a VW camper, wouldn't she?
Well, I was thinking more like a minibus.
Just Tom transforming into a actual bus.
Yeah. The only one thing that I will point out is this weird juxtaposition with reality in this book, because this is the first time that anyone's ever enjoyed a bus ride.
Mate, I mean, it's the Tingleverse. Like, love is all around there. You can find love in everything.
Maybe 12-year-old feeling the vibrations, getting in a semi, they enjoy the bus. Hang on. No, let's not go down that road.
I mean, I've definitely enjoyed a bus ride before.
Oh, and you can view it if you go to Brazzers, search the Bang Bus section.
I've certainly enjoyed a bus ride.
No, I wouldn't lie to you. I simply wouldn't lie to you on this. Right, should we get onto the to the scoring?
Yeah, absolutely.
I need to bring
I think
up
I can see him coming through the door now, actually.
Greetings, horny human. I am the Tingletron 4000 book review score robot. All scores are final.
Oh dear Christ.
I always forget about that. Sorry, carry on, Tingletron 4000.
Yeah, so basically we employed Tingletron to
No, you didn't. It's not real.
No, it is real.
It is, you just heard him.
No, it's not real.
Well, I know someone who's not being visited by the Tingletron 4000 fairy tonight.
Thank fuck I am wide enough.
So you've heard of his power. Yeah, so basically we now review it as we would review a video game in the early noughts. The GameSpot equivalents. So we have graphics, story.
It's a Max Headroom kind of deal.
Yeah, well, sort of, yeah. graphics, story, gameplay, value, and reviewers tilt. So graphics is looking at the Tingle, it's the cover up. Getting to the Tingle, it's the pacing, it's the story. The gameplay is giving you the Tingle, it's the sexiness of the book. Value, which is saving you some Tingle, value for money. Reviewers tilt is the Tingle tilt, our personal feeling whether it should score more or score less. And then the final score is the 4 score, and it's out of 10. But all the previous scores are scored out of 5. So, cover up. Taz, pull it up so everyone can see.
Yeah,
Beth, if you just Google it, please.
There you are, baby. There's the cover art.
That sounds like effort.
Fair enough.
It's not great.
It's do you remember what you said about the bus being dark, brooding, chiseled labs, all that stuff?
Well,
hang on. I can actually Google this. Hang on.
We can't actually.
How?
We can't actually see the bus's
Vampire
chest or
Night
abs.
Vampire Night Bus. Okay.
Pounds my butt. The pounds my
We'll
butt
probably
is
come up with Vampire
important.
Night Bus, to be
Make
fair.
sure to get the pounds my butt in there.
I mean, this is possibly the worst Photoshop job we've seen so far. The fact that the bus is clearly, the photo is taken in daylight, and then they've just made the sky a little bit darker. It's clearly daylight. There are shadows.
I'm also not a fan of the face they've put on the bus.
I mean, it
looks a little Thomas the Tank Engine, right?
It does a bit, yeah.
It does, but it's also the expression he's giving. It's not dark and brooding. It's
he's
Did I leave that milk out on the side?
No, he's not. He's blank. There's nothing going on.
It looks like he's pondering if the milk's going to curdle by the time he gets home.
I would see, to me, it's more like he's been left alone for a couple of minutes at a bar while his mates go to the toilet, and he's just looking across the bar going...
He's the only one who's a non-smoker, and he's having to hold the bag.
That's it.
And just while he's there, he's just going, have I, they're hot. Have I fucked them before? I might be. If I go over there and introduce, what's the chances it's going to get awkward?
Also, the chap in front, right? I understand. Like, you know how people say 6-pack. I understand there is actually an 8-pack because I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But this person has been formed differently.
All abs are different, Beth.
I know they are, but I have a feeling that he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, there is an 8-pack.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Carry on.
So I've seen some people go up to 10, which is just wild.
What?
Yeah.
I've currently got 20 thanks to this 4-pack of Guinness.
I got 5 chins. Does that count?
So my answer for Tingletron 4000 is that actually Vampire Night Bus. I think this is a 1.
I think this is possibly a 1. I'd go as far as to point out the font they've used for the number on the bus is clearly not a bus font. It's terrible. The photo's taken during the day. The point is he's a vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going 0. I don't give a shit.
Well, I'm going 1. Because
Right.
at least some effort has been put into it. So
Some effort? I think no effort.
They've paid their models.
Hopefully.
Have you already done? Just because I'm just googling this front page. Have you already done? Donald Trump's ass is haunted by the handsome ghost of his incriminating tax returns.
No, we haven't done that one yet.
Whoa.
With any luck, we'll get there soon.
Whoa, foreshadowing.
Oh, Beth, if you just treat yourself and just have a quick look through his entire.
This bloke has. He doesn't have a face. He has a face of a tax return on a body with a 10-pack.
Yeah. Now
Holy crap! You've introduced me to a world I did not know and did not want.
Oh, you do.
You will soon. You
should at least read Pound by the Pound, Turned Gay by the Social and Economic Implications of Britain Leaving the European Union. That is a genuinely great book.
And the follow-up. By my substantial amount of press generated by my book, Pounded in the Pound. The gay implications of the social economic, whatever it is.
Congratulations, Tom.
Are you just, sorry, I'm completely breaking form here. Are you just concentrating on the male gay novels that he has done?
No, absolutely not. We're just pulling them out random.
No.
But they are
because I've
majority
just
gay.
seen an amazing of my librarian is a beautiful lesbian ice cream cone, and she tastes amazing.
Oh wait, let me just point out. I forgot to say this last.
And the cover is wicked.
What I forgot to say last week, which
Tom. Let's just do the scores, and then are you talking about the?
Oh, sorry, I've taken it off.
Let's do the scores, and then let's crack on.
So, story, getting to the tingles, the pacing, much needed in this podcast. Let me tell you.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm actually going to give this one a 5. It does it's actually a really sound work of horror and erotica.
And also punchy to the point. Doesn't hang around too long. Doesn't leave a bad taste in the mouth.
It actually takes more than half the book to get to the pounding, but it doesn't feel like it. Like, it does such a good job of just doing the breadcrumbs, the exposure and the warning and the wandering further into the threat and all that stuff. That by the time you actually get there, you feel like you've been reading for no time at all. So,
although I did feel that he did sort of just get aroused at the drop of a hat, but maybe that's a character issue. Not so much. Yeah. Pacing. But okay, that's fine.
Yeah, 5, I'm thinking 5 for that one. Yeah.
Okay. Right, gameplay, giving you the tingles, sexiness.
2.
Yeah.
No, what? I mean, it might even be 1. It's really difficult to try and put yourself in the position of someone who is essentially thrown like one of those stick-on dildos to the back wall of a bus and is fucking it.
Yeah, I mean, the hottest bit was probably the bumhole teasing.
Yeah, I mean, even the bit where the chair flies across the room, sweeps him off his feet, and then the bus rolls up on him and starts gobbling down on him. It's hard to visualize. The chair and all that is all cool, and then the second the face is on there, there's a moment of almost like, oh yeah, and then you remember it's a bus that's sucking him off, and you're just like, what's going on? Is there just some mad shit going on with the radiator grill or something?
Yeah, it's really actually, yeah. You know what? It's too distracting. It's a 1, isn't it?
I think it might be, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so value for money. It's a good solid 4, I'd say, as always.
Yeah. Well,
nice and cheap.
No, I'm going to say
it entertained me for a good hour.
Yeah. I don't know.
How long
I think
do these novels normally take to read? Are they
words.
short?
Yeah, I mean, I think this one's slightly shorter, but yeah, about 20 minutes to half an hour.
Okay.
But then I also really enjoyed my time with.
So when do you pause to
vampire,
wank?
didn't I?
So far, haven't.
Oh,
No,
really?
the sexiness
they're
score.
effective.
So the sexiness score is 5. Is you had to go and have a wank immediately after reading.
Yeah.
And no one's got that yet.
No, we've got a 4.
I came very close with Monday pounds me in the butts.
Close.
But I was at work at the time.
We also scored Unicorn Butt Cops, Beach Patrol, a 4.
Yeah, but I mean that's just DA, isn't it? I just love it.
Value for money, so yeah, that's going to be a 4, isn't it? Reviewers tilt. So currently we are on a 4.
It's going to be paltry, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just like, is this a bad book? No. Is it a particularly good book? No. I think 3 is fine.
I mean, that would take it to a 5.6.
By far the worst.
It's not the worst.
Really? What would be the worst?
Oh, actually, no. You know what? It is the worst because originally slammed by the substantial amount of press generated by my book, Pounded by the Pound, was 5.4, but we rescored it because of the recording error.
Oh, right, okay.
And it came out as a 6.8.
Oh, yeah.
So
but,
I think,
other than that, all scores are final.
All scores are fucking final.
Yeah,
you heard,
3.
Didn't you, Tingletron? Yes, I heard. See?
3, I think, for this one. I think 3 is fine.
That's fine. I'm down with that. So the overall 4 score is 5.6 for Vampire Night Bus Pounds My Butt. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
So decidedly average, enjoyable though.
Yeah, I mean, they always are. It's Chuck Tingle. It's always funny. It's always funny. Sometimes it's hot as well.
That's the thing.
And it's always kind of interesting.
It's always good to read.
Yeah.
So far, we haven't found a bad one.
Yeah.
All right.
And as you can tell, I take a lot from these books. I think Honestly, I think Chuck Tingle is a postmodernist master.
So he puts mustard on his hot dog.
Oh.
Wait, in an Easter egg. Hang on.
In a sandwich.
Yeah. So can you pull out the next book while I plug what Chuck Tingle's done for the Corona?
Okay, so are we just going to pull the next one that's in...
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Because it's... So what we could do is we could do... what is it? It's
the one that's in here.
Yeah, the one that's in there, which is some sort
Space
of raptor thing.
butt invasion.
Space Raptor butt invasion. But also, going for free at the moment are a collection of...
Are you stepping on my fucking bit that you stopped me doing?
Well, yeah, because now's a good time to do it, because we're not in the middle of scoring, Tom.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's released a bunch of free PDFs that are kind of focused on the current pandemic. So we could have a look at one of those.
It's more the fact that he didn't want to make any money doing that, but he thinks that people might enjoy something to read.
Yeah.
So it's basically asked for donations to Doctors Without Borders, St. Jude's Children's Hospital, Direct Relief and Global Giving, which he links. If you search Chuck Tingle Get Well Soon, the first link there will be the page where you can download these PDFs and donate, which I think is lovely.
Yeah. Should we do one of those?
Yeah, absolutely. Should we just go from top to bottom, or should we just pick one at random?
How many are there?
There's 3.
Roll a die.
So we have, okay, I'll just go through the titles quickly. So it's Bisexual Vampire Unicorns Teach Me the Importance of the Vampire Cough. From, of course, 2-time Hugo Award finalist Chuck Tingle. Then we have Not Pounded by Anything While I Practice Responsible Social Distancing from 2-time Hugo Award finalist Chuck Tingle. Or it's The Physical Manifestation of Washing My Hands Gets Me Off, which is a lesbian book.
It's a lesbian book.
2-time Hugo Award finalist Chuck Tingle.
So, Tom,
when?
What do you mean, when?
No, like, I'm just wondering, because they're talking about washing their hands. Is this recent, or is this from a past?
He's put these out.
He's prolific, hun. Yeah.
God.
He writes like a book a day. It's ridiculous. My Amazon sends me an email every day or practically every day going, oh, there's this new Chuck Tingle. Oh, there's this new Chuck Tingle.
So do you want to roll a dice for one of those, Tom?
Absolutely. Here we go. It's a 6, so that's 3, which means
it's gonna be the lesbian one.
It's gonna be the lesbian one.
Oh, this is gonna be interesting.
So again, Google Chuck Tingle Get Well Soon. It's the bottom book on that page. The Physical Manifestation of Washing My Hands Gets Me Off.
Oh, okay.
Topical.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. I cannot wait to dig in to this little fraction of Tingle Senpai's mind in this setting, oh God, I'm excited.
Once we finish these 3, we'll go back and we'll do the book that was given away for free in the Vampire Night Bus,
which is Space Raptor's Bus Invasion.
That's the one.
That sounds hot.
You know it. Anyway, thank you for enduring through the book club. We hope you read along with us. Let us know if you do.